All right, let's finish it out at 4 in the morning with Lethal Weapon 4. Hey, look, it's 4 a.m. and it's the fourth film, so I gotta fucking get to bed after this. But I slept in pretty damn late today, so I got this. All right, we get this rampage type opening here. Reminds me of Ewell's Rampage trilogy, if you will. This guy puts this like bulletproof suit on and he goes out and he just creates mayhem and is blowing shit up. And then we get this, we get the information that Lorna and Rianne are pregnant, that Rig is going to be a father, and Murtaugh is going to be a grandfather. So this raises the stakes. They can't get themselves killed, and now they're both getting too old for this shit. So they really got to start taking this seriously. And so we've got Murtaugh not only being totally homophobic in this movie, but also racist in this movie, because his first reaction to the father of his grandkid in this is, he better be black. He better be black. Really? Like, this is the whole contradiction of racism to me. It drives me fucking crazy. If a character in this was instantly like, oh, I have a grandson on the way, the fucking father better be white. How do you think that would play? How do you think that would play? That'd be some racist ass shit. So for a black guy to say you better be black, that's the same thing. How anybody doesn't see it that way is fucking beyond me. It's crazy to me that people don't see that as racist. Now, does that offend me? Do I care? Not at all. I'm gonna give a fuck. You want him to be black? You want him to be white? That's your own fucking business. I don't care. But that's just so weird to me that people are like, oh, well, it's only racist if you're white. Because that's really what it comes down to. You're only fucking racist if you're white. Let's just be honest about it. So it's just interesting to me how someone can be like, it's only, you better be black. Dude, why? Why? What's wrong with white people? You got a problem with us? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be that guy, but come on. Come the fuck on. Anyway, so he goes out there in his underwear and he flaps his fucking wings. Which of course is just a big joke, and Rig only did, but he puts his life on the line yet again. How many times does he put this guy's life on the line? He tells him he's going to be a grandfather, and then just kind of for his own chuckles and his own thrill, he gets this guy to go out there unguarded with his wings flapping, and he fucking gets himself near killed doing it. So Rig's not a good guy. He's afraid of marriage in this. This is, of course, addressing the death of his wife, that he brings up multiple times throughout this. So I'm glad that that's consistent throughout. I will say Danny Glover seriously looks phenomenal in all of these. He looks the same in every damn movie. I'd said that before, but now we're on the fourth, so I want to reiterate that. And I want to say he's near naked in this damn movie, and he looks great, man. Like, with his shirt off and everything. I'm like, damn, dude, how old is he in this film by this point? He's probably only in his 50s at this point, right? He'd only be like 55, so he's not really that old, but he looks fucking great. So he looks like he's in really good shape, so good for him. They're going out there. They're on the boat with Leo. He catches this shark. There's this whole scene. They're going back and forth. He takes Leo's gun away from him and throws it in the water. Some like $500 fucking pistol that he just bought. He takes and he chucks it in the water. Dude, what the fuck? He legally acquired that thing. You grab and you throw it in the water? What's wrong with you? Why are you so mean to this guy? He just wants to be your fucking friend. You don't want him around. Tell him to get bent. Don't just keep using him and be like, it's one thing to talk shit. Me and my friends talk shit to each other. You have that, squeak of the friendship. Everybody has that squeak. If you don't know what squeak is, man, watch basketball. Do yourself a favor. It's fucking hilarious. Heard your mom's going out. Squeak. But yeah, he's the squeak of the franchise. But the shit that they do to this guy, this poor guy throughout the franchise. But I do love that he calls him out about it later in the movie, and we'll get there. But then this movie deals with human trafficking. But what this movie's really dealing with is kind of catching up and saying goodbye to the characters that we love. And the whole like Chinese triad and the human trafficking thing is kind of a secondary element to just like Rig is trying to get over the death of his wife. He's trying to become a possible husband, a father. Where Murtaugh is with his family, the future of their family after the franchise is over. It's kind of like a catching up, a keeping up with the Kardashians, except for it's a keeping up with the Murtaughs. And I love it for that. I mean, this for me is very emotional watching this. You're so attached to everybody that when these kind of heavier scenes come, when they're crying and all that, you feel it. You very much feel it. Now, this is definitely the most humorous of the films. They put a lot of comedy in here, but that's to be expected. As the sequels go on, the comedy is always ramped up. This guy's pushed in front of a train, which is then duplicated later on, except for this time Rig has the upper hand, and he pulls their car in front of the train. Now, this should have been his truck, would have made more sense. This is how he could have easily pulled them forward, but she shoots those guys, so I'll accept it. It's just, of all the times that he needed his truck, it was pulling down that house and pulling this car in front of the train. We get the additions of Jet Li and Chris Rock in here. Jet Li brings his martial arts artistry into this, which is great, and Chris Rock brings a lot of his humor, which actually lands. Some of it really lands, like the whole conversation about how he hates the floor of his old place because that's where he used to live. He would sleep on that floor, this and that. He goes through it, and the whole shit he says about that floor, that he didn't learn how to walk till he's 10, is laugh out loud hilarious. That's so funny. So they even have Rig laugh at that line because you can't help but laugh. That's just Chris Rock's humor in a nutshell. So he plays this character Butters really well. It's hard to say Butters without thinking of South Park. Let's see. And yeah, I mean, and then you got Murtaugh kind of dealing with the whole slave notion here, right? Like, he tries to take the Hongs under his wing because he sees them as slaves, which is what they were going to be. And he wants to free people like no one did for his ancestors back in the day, up until, 1865. But, before that, not so good. And after that, it was still not so good, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I love that they still have the two dogs. Great stuff. They're building onto the trailer. They're building a whole nursery and a whole house. But, of course, Rig's got to keep onto that trailer. He can't ditch the trailer. But this is exactly it. She's compromising. I like that's there for them. That she's there to compromise for Rig. And he's really kind of there to be like, this is what I'm comfortable with. I'll let you build on to my life, but I'm still keeping remnants of my old life, no matter how unsightly they may be. So I like that that's pulled on there. And it talked about all that, and all the same actors used throughout. The captain, the bomb squad guy, like everybody, man. Everyone is reoccurring throughout. Even the guy who like helps build their houses, all that shit. Everybody's the same. It's so good. The captain tells them to keep out of trouble, promotes them to captain. Yeah, good luck with that. Murtaugh thinks that Butters is gay for him. He wants to butter him up. Of course, this probably wouldn't play very well, but dude, Danny Glover's just of that generation. This is exactly like Danny Glover reminds me so much of my father in this. He's not. It's hard. It's weird. It's like it's your parents, man. It's that older generation of like, they're not homophobes, man. They're just of a different time. Like, where my dad's accepting of homosexuality, he just doesn't like it around him. Like, he's not against it per se. He's just not into it. You know what I mean? Like, he's just like, I don't want to see it. He's just one of those kinds of people. It's just, and people can be like, oh, he's not woke, man. No, what a piece of shit. Let's cancel him. Let's get him fired from his job. No, he's come a long way. When he was growing up, people were fucking like, gays should die. And now he's like, hey man, I'm all for it, go for it, I'm supportive of it, I just don't want to see it. That's a huge fucking leap. Now, I don't know if he was ever in the camp of I think they should die. I highly doubt it, but I'm just saying that's the fucking like that's the world he was raised in. So for him to go from that to that is an achievement. And for anyone to be like, you're not woke enough, dude, you don't fucking seem to know your history. You don't seem to know where people came from. Leaps and bounds, man. Baby steps. It takes. You don't understand how deep rooted things are, beliefs and whatnot. It's hard to fucking change. It's fucking hard. So anyway, moving on. Lots of life lessons from your pal over here at Sinister Cinema as I'm losing subscriptions left and right. Oh well. If you can't hear the truth, I don't know what to tell you. Or at least my very strong opinion of what I think the truth is. Since we all seem to think we have the truth in our head. And they leave Leo to get a DUI test, and he tells them he was there for an hour, and they just think this is funny. Jesus Christ. And then they go in to this dude's joint, and they completely fucking just destroy his business. They break his glass window, they pull the fire alarm, destroying, oh my god, yeah, he's a criminal and this and that. It just, come on, man, there's no way they'd get away with this stuff. They make mention of it too here, though. They're like, oh well, doing this to a bad guy doesn't really count because who are they going to call? The cops were already here. It's like, yeah, you could still call the cops. It's called harassment. It's called destruction of property. It's called fucking people's rights. Guilty until proven otherwise, right? Or innocent until proven guilty. I don't know what the fuck I was saying there. It's 4:10 in the morning. Bear with me here, people. You've got Lorna doing some pregnant kung fu here, so man, she'd be breaking that water as she's breaking people's faces. And then they leave these guys to be burned alive. This is brutal. But little dude comes out and frees them, so they get out of there. Of course, no one's coughing. That's never ever shown in movies, dude. The smoke is what kills you most of the time, not the fire. You'd be coughing in a building that was burning that much out of control. We burned the family house down here, so the Murtaugh house is no more. That's super sad to see. When Riggs is fighting that guy in the house, and then he gets thrown out, and he gets hit by a bus, and that's probably the most brutal scene in the entire Lethal Weapon franchise. That's fucking hardcore. This dude's body is hit and mangled. Now there's not gore and blood and everything, but it's the way his body's hit and the way it crumples. And he's thrown. It's brutal. It's really brutal. Then Rig is riding a dragging table. They're upping the action here. They're going for more of that modern take on action, liking to the action films of the time. They drive through a building like the Fast and the Furious, and then out through another window as Rig floors it and makes them jump out of a window. God knows who the fuck is in the way. God knows where it's going to land them. They almost hit window cleaners. They almost hit people in the building. Rig has no fucking regard for anyone's life, especially his partner. He does not give a shit about Leo. He doesn't give a shit about Roger. He doesn't give a shit about Trish. He doesn't give a shit about anybody but himself. He gets that girl killed. He gets his fucking wife killed because he's too busy working. He's a shit person. I'm telling you. Zach Morris is trash. Needs to be canceled. Martin Riggs is trash. Greenlit right now. Greenlighting it. Go for it. Do it. I have poor Leo written down on every bit of my notes. It's ridiculous. We got this guy who's being forced to forge money, or his family is going to be killed, and then his brother is killed right in front of him. That's brutal. And then Jet Li freaking ducks a bullet, and his brother gets it. Ooh, man, he's pissed at not only them, but himself as well for being too fast. And then, they have the moment where they're like, Murtaugh tries to reason with him, and he's telling Rig, look, this guy's too good. We're too old. You told me earlier, you're too old for this shit. You couldn't even fight that guy anymore. We need to go. I don't want to die, man. Let's retire. Let's have kids. Let's be a part of our people's lives. All that shit. Nope. Nope. Riggs is no, I'd rather get you killed. And he almost gets himself killed. I didn't mention the laughing gas scene, which is really funny. I love that whole scene. I think it's super funny. So I didn't point that out, but a lot of funny things said there. Your baby, oh baby, all that stuff's pretty funny. But yeah, just let's not fight him. He's too good. And then they go in. He's like, I gotta know how he did that thing with my gun and all this. And of course they end up beating him, but barely. They almost got themselves killed. Yet again. But of course they kill him, stab him through the back. Murtaugh, I guess, somehow can hear Riggs. I guess there's some kind of psychic link between them because they're so close now. Whatever. And would a gun fire underwater like that? It's like an AK-47, I think. So would it fire underwater? Someone? Anybody? And it's like pressed up against his chest, so the bullet wouldn't have to travel very far. But don't bullets like stop almost instantly when they hit water? I don't know. He'd have to have it pressed against his chest, and that thing would have to be. I don't know. I don't think that scene makes any sense, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, he yells at him, "You willed me. I found you because you willed me." So then they come up, and then you got the Leo Froggy scene, which is, I think, one of the better scenes of the franchise. I think Leo kind of coming in and being this message from his wife as he takes it, but Leo's coming in and he's like, listen to me, and he's very serious. This is the first and only time you really ever see Leo serious in this movie, and this is Joe Pesci fucking, being Joe Pesci. He's an awesome actor, and here he brings it, and he tells him about how he's his friend, and that until he met Riggs and Murtaugh, that Froggy was his best friend. Nobody liked him before, and he was devastated, and this, and it's fucking I cried straight up. I've seen this fucking movie like 10 times now. I've seen that scene 10 times now, and yet again I sitting there and fucking Leo's talking, and boom, tears down my fucking eyes because it's so sad. And then Riggs even like, dude, I'm horrible to you. He admits it outright. And then from there, when Riggs gives him a hug, and then like his Joe Pesci's acting is so fantastic here. But like the way he like pats him back on the back, like, oh my god, we're buddies now. Like, I finally got through to you. I'm finally friends. And he runs. Oh, it's so good, and it's so heartbreaking. It's so touching. It's so good. It's so good. It really does feel like family. It really does feel like people that you know, and I love it. Yeah, then then Lorna's like, I need to be married, so they go and grab a rabbi, and they get married, and that's sweet. And then they have the big closing line, we're not friends, we're family. And then the guy counts down, and he's like, all right, on 3. And that's like the reoccurring thing between Riggs and Murtaugh, and that's how we close out the franchise, is with them hearing like on 3, which is their thing, which is great. It's a beautiful ending. We're not friends, we're family. And then on 3, which is fucking great writing, really great stuff. And then you got memories of the filming and the saga and all that playing during the credits, and it's like very tear jerking, because you're just like, I love these guys, and I love this franchise, and I love this. And I mean, the story itself is pretty thin, but it deals with some pretty big themes here about getting older, dealing with your wife's passing. You're getting older. You're dealing with your kids now getting pregnant. You're so not tolerant of what you've been like, that your daughter doesn't even want to tell you that she got married because she's so afraid of what you're gonna think. Like, there's a lot of slavery and all sorts of deep themes here. So it's not surface. It's just, even though those things are addressed, they are still kind of left a little surface level anyway. So the plot is a tad thin, but as I said, this is more of the keeping up with the Murtaughs, and this is a journey I love to go on and just kind of find out what my friends are up to and what they've been going and doing in their later years. So very happy with this movie's existence. Maybe it's a film a lot of people don't care. I love it, and it is 4:18 in the morning. It's time for bed. The Lethal Weapon franchise, one after the other, 4 in a row, just like that. And I also did Scary Stories and To Tell in the Dark, and that Spare Parts one, all right in a row. Just boom, 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 boom. 6 fucking reviews in a row. This is why I keep drinking water. My mouth is dry from talking so fucking much. I'm going to bed. Good night.